evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 5, Episode 31, DJI Avata coming soon. How is everyone doing on this Tuesday evening? It is the first episode in August. Hope everyone's doing well. I've got some... I have all kind of dental issues going on, and I'm on antibiotics, so hopefully it'll take care of some of that pain until I can get this stuff addressed. It's just driving me thoroughly nuts. Well, we're going to welcome everybody here tonight. Let's see who's in the house. Ray Kelly's here, Drone View Media, Maddie's in the house, Quadcopters in Tech, Akaracho, Travel Tech 360, Flying Flynn Media. Hey, John, it was good to see you last night on Drone Nation. Let's see who else we got here. Silas Seeger, Zach Key is here. Johnny Drone Flyer is in the house. Mr. Stephen Ewing is here. Let's see who else we got. Had a pretty good chat going on before the show started here tonight. Okay, got a lot to talk about tonight, and we're right now we're in a kind of what I'll call a transition period between releases. And we're at a cycle where there's not a lot of active news, active information. Mavic 3 seems to be pretty stable. Mini 3 Pro seems to be pretty stable. I have a couple of videos coming out this week, so stay tuned. One's on the Mini 3, one's on the Mavic 3, so stay tuned for those. Programming announcement, Bill the Drone Reviewer Limited Edition will become Bill the RC Reviewer. That transition is going to take place probably within the next week. I'm waiting to get logos finished and an intro video for that. And we're going to have great content on there. Now, one of the things that I wanted to explain to everybody is the content that is existing on there will not go away. That's going to be, I'm going to create a special playlist for that called Build the Drone Reviewer Limited Edition playlist. And then the new content is going to be, of course, we'll still continue drone updates, and probably you'll be getting, there will be some crossover between the two channels. That's to be expected. But you will also see things like airplane reviews, radio-controlled airplane reviews, radio-controlled car reviews, radio-controlled ship reviews. And the ships will be more like on the warship side, but, who knows? There may be some of those racing boats as well. Look forward to that, for that to start probably within the next couple of weeks. I know I've been talking about this forever, but I finally want to get a handle on it, get this taken care of. It's something I've been debating. And also I've gotten a new logo for it too, to kind of update things on where things stand. So be on the lookout for that. I'm going to have great reviews on besides drones, on cars, on trucks. Trust me, you guys will really like it. And the first one's going to be on a lowrider Chevy Impala that will blow your mind away. So anyway, with all that being said, okay, wanted to give you guys, I'm trying to get my banner straight here. All right, Teami X8 Se 2022 V2 update. All right, as you guys know, I sent mine back to Amazon. All right, and I told them it was defective. Now, it used to be whenever you told them that you had a defective product, that they would just ship you a new one automatically. Okay. Well, that doesn't happen anymore. I found that out with B&H, and I found that out with Amazon as well. And unfortunately, I sent the drone back a week ago Monday. It finally got there last night. Now, I was up in Kentucky, and I know Kentucky's been faced with some flooding and some horrific situations. And so, I get that and I understand that. Now, normally, and if you guys know anything about Amazon and returns, just, kind of clue you guys in. Normally what happens on, I'll say 9 out of 10 of their products, whenever I'll take it to the UPS store, or they have free pickup, or they pick it up, as soon as it gets scanned, I'll get an email from Amazon saying that my refund's been processed. All right. This didn't happen in this instance. All right. Apparently that's set by the manufacturer, and the manufacturer, of course, is Fimi. So it did get back there last night. All right. Still hasn't been credited. Had a wonderful conversation with Amazon customer support via chat. Their 800 number is a joke, okay? And long and the short of it, well, they wanted to credit they wanted to send me an Amazon gift card so I could buy it again. And I'm like, guys, this has to go back to my original payment method, okay? I can't, we can't do that. We can't play that game here. So long and short of it is, I went back out to Amazon today. Currently unavailable. No estimated time of when it's going to come back. So I got to wait for this to get refunded. And then I'm going to kind of make a hard decision here, because I'll have to get it from the mothership over in China, which I'm not looking forward to. Although I got to say this, I've been pretty pleased with AliExpress and their shipping. That's who I bought the TX10 controller through. They were very prompt with that. I got that in about a week and a half, which was really good. So who knows? Stay tuned for that, okay? Because there's going to be, until I get that, there's no Fimi videos in the interim here. So I just wanted to give you guys kind of an update on that, all right? Really interesting news. I found this article on Drone DJ. Drone Deploy now supports DJI Air 2S, and I'm going to go ahead and bring that article up here. This has been updated. This was as of the 28th. Let's go ahead and share this so you guys can take a look at this. Drone Deploy flight automation app now supports DJI Air 2S drone updated. Drone Deploy has released flight app v4.97.0 with support added for the Air 2S. This has enabled the Air 2S to create interactive 2D maps, 3D models, photos, videos, panoramas, and roof reports directly from a mobile device. But if you aren't already subscribed to Drone Deploy, there's a catch. While someone new to the app would typically have been able to test out its functionalities for free 2 weeks, the Air 2S compatibility is rolled out only to paying customers, okay? While it's worth noting that all Drone Deploy plans support the Air 2S, this means even with a basic $99 monthly subscription, Flight app can provide users with instant offline RGB maps within hours of processing time. So if that is something that you're interested in and you own an Air 2S, I would highly recommend that you investigate that and take a look at that. And again, all these articles are on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group. So make sure if you're interested in reading further to go ahead and look in the group and go ahead and get that information there. So just wanted to make sure that everybody understands that. Well, lo and behold, Inspire 3 got another new, in fact, 2 new pictures. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. Now, what's real interesting here, you can see here, I mean, you're not going to get a lot of close-ups of this, but the body is, they're really, because the M30 body and it looks like the Inspire 3 body are kind of share a lot of similar characteristics with the Mavic 3 body as well too, which I find to be very interesting. Now, the article talks about here, and of course, this was posted by our buddy Acetalev, but the article is hinting here, educated guesses tend to converge on September or October being likely launch months for the Inspire 3, but with previous rumors suggesting DJI's other evident development project, Avata, may be delayed beyond its expected summer launch. Further surprises may yet await actually buyers. And we're going to talk about the Avata here in a little bit. But I wanted to get this out here so you guys were aware of these new pictures, and that, yeah, I think we're probably going to be looking at a September, October type of time frame for something like this. That just, again, where am I getting that? Based upon just a number of things that I've seen with DJI and everything, I think that's probably something reasonable to expect. I don't know about you guys, but one thing I will say about this, okay, guys, reach deep in your pocketbooks for this, okay? I think the M30T is going to be less expensive than the Inspire 3. Maddie, I hope so. I really do. I really, really do. Very interesting. Okay. Yeah. And we're going to talk about the Avata here coming up. But price wise, my guess is you're probably gonna be approaching anywhere from 15 to 20K for that. That's just right off the top of my head. Probably more towards 20K with a camera and get it outfitted and all that good stuff. So stay tuned for that. And if you've got deep pockets and that's the kind of drone you want, that's all I'm going to say here, guys. That's all I'm going to say. Trini Weeks is here. Jerome Robinson is here. Drone and Visuals is here. Stephen Knowles is here. Welcome, guys. Thanks for stopping by tonight. It's just crazy stuff. 20K for that. When I remember the original Inspire 2 was like about base price was about 5 or 6. And by the time you tricked it out, you can get it up to 10. But I mean, 20K. Wow. That's just, I'm kind of having a hard time with that. But I think that's something we need to, we need to consider. Came across another interesting article, and I know a lot of people have talked about, not being able to do live streams on their drones. But apparently now on the DJI M30 and M30T, you have the capability of doing that. And let's go ahead. I'm going to bring this up here. Okay. Okay. DroneSense enables live video streaming and support for DJI M30, M30T drones. DroneSense has announced its live video streaming software now supports DJI's new enterprise drone systems, Matrice 30 and Matrice 30 Thermal. DroneSense's drone management collaboration platform is tailored specifically for the unique needs of public safety agencies. It tracks all mobile and live drone video feeds during a mission on a map and shows them on a common screen. The Flight app gives drone operators access to all pertinent telemetry data, including height, MSL, AGL, and height above terrain, speed, relative drone position, orientation to pilot, and gimbal angle. Remote team leaders, meanwhile, can use a platform to request control from the ground pilot and steer the drone to a target with near zero latency. It's not surprising that many organizations view DroneSense as a complete asset and risk management tool for public safety agencies. And just like DroneSense, DJI's new enterprise drones also unlock powerful functionalities for first responders. The M30 was launched to showcase a compact folding drone, can also offer performance you normally expect from much bigger platforms such as M300 RTK. Now, the M30T comes with, as you know, a radiometric thermal camera, making it attractive for law enforcement, firefighting, and emergency service applications. Integrating the new M30 series drones into our software is important for first responder customers to enhance their operations. We quickly implemented support for this aircraft, allowing us to become the first software platform dedicated to public safety that provides all the advantages these drones have to offer. So that's a tremendous asset, and that's going to be great for first responders. I see this as a win-win, being able to do this. And I wish DJI would bring it back in the consumer drone space as well, too. I had my best success with the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 using my iPad Mini 4. That worked flawlessly. And if you want to go back in my archives and take a look, I do have plenty of footage from that. The one thing that I did find, though, it was best and it worked best when I was at home and I was near my Wi-Fi. Okay, I can tell you that. Out in the field, you're going to have a lot of latency. It's going to be spotty. It's based on cell tower coverage and all that kind of good stuff. So, good luck with that is what I have to say. But no, this is good. And again, I do wish that DJI would bring it back to, back to the consumer drone space as well. Cause I know I enjoyed it. I know a lot of other people enjoyed it as well. So, there we go. Oh, also wanted to wish a belated happy birthday to Michael Wright. I know it's his birthday. It was his birthday, I think, yesterday. Happy belated birthday, Michael. I know I wish you one on Facebook. And also our best wishes for Bill Thomas. I know he's under the weather. Hope he gets to feeling well soon. And for Johnny Drone Flyer, hope you have a wonderful cruise. I take it you'll be on vacation for a little bit. So we're hoping you have a lot of fun. Oh, you're welcome, Michael. The M30 streaming does not work the same way. Okay. All right. Thank you, Lauren. Appreciate that, the heads up on that. That's probably, I think, and Lauren, correct me if I'm wrong, I think probably what that means is it's live streaming back to a remote location like they were talking about in the article. If I'm right, let me know about that, because I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, I kind of take that back after I said all that. Now that live streaming is not to a social media platform, but back to a base station, what have you, so they can be able to follow and monitor the progress of that, and if necessary, they can remotely take control of the drone. So understood. Okay, thank you, Lauren. All right, yeah, not a public live stream. Okay, Lauren, thank you. I really appreciate that. Okay, good deal. All right. Well, we got the formalities out of birthdays and well wishes for Bill Thomas get better, and for safe travels for Johnny Drone Flyer here. Let's see here. Okay, this does not surprise me as well, and we're going to take a look at this article. And I wanted to cover this because a lot of people aren't aware DJI makes agricultural drones, and they are doing very well. In fact, so well, their sales are skyrocketing. And I wanted to go ahead and bring up this article here. So I thought, I thought it was worth mentioning here, just for awareness sake. Let's go ahead and get this up. You take a look at them. They're compact. They fold up. They're raised up above the ground, and again, they're different from the camera type of drones. And you can see here on this graph and on this chart from, let's say, 2015 up to 2021, they've gone from like nothing to 134,852. Now, it's the Drone Industry Insights report. Again, DJI does not publish their sales information here. Precision spraying reduces adverse impact on environment. These are the 6 reasons. Risk to the operator becomes minimal with drones. Reduce carbon emissions and noise pollution. Helps to save precious water. Improves the utilization rate of pesticides. Cost effectiveness of drones. Okay, so if you're interested in reading further about this, it is a very good article, and it will enlighten you here too. And just I want people to get an aspect. DJI is just doing more than cinematography and videography here, and also having enterprise type of drones. It's agricultural, and this saves a lot of time and a lot of effort. Remember, pesticides used to be delivered by you probably remember the crop dusters. Okay, that's not needed anymore, and you can use these drones, and they target it specifically, and as outlined in the article here. So I invite you guys to go ahead and take a look at that. I think that's a win-win for everybody. I think we're going to be you're going to see more of that in the future. It's something that is very, very good. Now, recently there was a ruling on remote ID, and I wanted to spend a few minutes on this because I thought it was important, because we had a lot of people. Now this isn't on. Remote ID is coming. Okay, it's not going away. But there was a ruling here in a case, and I wanted to spend a few minutes to go over this, and because I thought it's important enough. The title of the article is FAA's Remote ID Rule for Drones is Constitutional, DC Court Rules. A U.S. appeals court on Friday affirmed the remote ID rules for drones set by the FAA, denying a petition by a drone user who said remote ID would invite warrantless government surveillance in violation of the Fourth Amendment. A 3-judge panel in Washington, D.C. ruled that requiring a drone to show its location and that of its operator while the aircraft is airborne violates no reasonable expectation of privacy. And then what is remote ID? Remote ID refers to the ability of a drone in flight to provide information and location information that can be received by people within the range of local radio signals. The FAA likens it to a digital license plate for a drone. For a drone to transmit information such as its unique identifier, altitude, or takeoff location, it could either have built-in remote ID capabilities or could be outfitted with external remote ID. Who will the remote ID rule apply to? Again, this is important. So the FAA's remote ID will apply to all drone operators in the U.S. with the following exceptions. You fly a drone that weighs less than 250 grams, such as the DJI Mini 3, and you fly it only for recreation purposes, okay? Number 2, you fly a drone at an FAA-recognized identification area. These FRIAs will be your traditional model airplane fields where hobbyists have gathered and flown safely for decades, okay? So again, and here, this first one, only for recreation purposes, okay? I think that's important that you know that, okay? Because, if you use your Mini 3 and you have it under the weight limit and you're shooting for a client, it doesn't count, okay? The remote ID rule will apply. FAA asserts the remote ID will help law enforcement and other federal agencies find the control station when the drone appears to be flying in an unsafe manner or where it's not allowed to fly. Remote ID will also lay the foundation of safety and security groundwork needed for more complex drone operations, such as beyond visual line of sight missions and package deliveries. Tyler Brennan, a drone user who also retails FPV drone parts, sued the FAA over the rule last year. Brennan claimed the law enforcement authorities could use remote ID as an excuse to carry out continuous surveillance of drone pilots. The rule could also be applied in ways that would reveal operators' identity and location, even when they're operating from an otherwise private place, such as their homes. And it must be highlighted that Brennan was not alone in his thinking. He managed to raise over $83,000 from 2,000 donors in the drone community to bring this challenge to the FAA. Judge Cornelia Pilliard of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Court ruled that limited local real-time information sharing required by remote ID is a far cry from continuous surveillance. Pilliard said drone pilots generally lack any reasonable expectation of privacy and location of their drone systems during flight. A search for purposes of the Fourth Amendment occurs when government action infringes the sphere and individuals seek to preserve as private, and the expectation of privacy is one society considers unreasonable under the circumstances. In his petition, Brennan also claimed the remote ID rule must be vacated due to various procedural missteps he believed the FAA made in promoting it. But Pilliard said none of these asserted flaws affect the validity of the rule. The world's largest nonprofit representing uncrewed systems and robotics, Association for Uncrewed Vehicle Systems International, has commended the court's decision. Brian Wynn, president and CEO of AUVSI, said, and I'll let you read his quote, and there's more. The question of owns the airspace in the hands of drones continue to play out across a variety of fora. But I'm pleased the D.C. court upheld the remote ID rule, thus eliminating what would have been a regulatory roadblock to additional enabling regulations for drones, okay? Now, drone manufacturers will have until September 16th to comply with the final requirements for remote ID. The compliance date for operators is September 16th, 2023. DJI plans to roll out updates across its product line in phases, taking into account their popularity and where they are in their life cycle as the FAA deadline approaches. But since the FAA will also allow drone pilots to satisfy remote ID requirements with a separate add-on module, every DJI drone is expected to have a pathway to compliance. That said, if you fly a Mavic Mini, Mini 2, Mini 3, purely as a hobbyist, you have nothing to worry about. You can read the full decision on FAA's remote ID here. Okay, that is a ton of information here, guys. That was a ton. And Lauren, thanks for sharing that video. This is something that you really need to pay attention to. All right. I'm not going to get political here, but, there are some cases, there are some arguments to be made on both sides. It's, my whole thing is when you're out flying, and I think the intent of remote ID is to prevent people like idiots flying over a stadium during a game, or if a VIP comes in the area, like if the president comes in the area, or preventing idiots from flying over a active crime scene, or let's say also over a forest fire. All this kind of stuff has happened before, or prevent idiots from flying around airports and near airplanes that are actively taking off and landing. Remote ID is a good thing, and providing location of those kind of pilots is a good thing. Okay. Do I think this is going to be used adversely? I don't think so. But let's stay tuned here. September's coming up. Let's see how DJI is going to respond. Matty, you're probably right. It's not going to fly. People have gotten, Matty, you bring up a really good point. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about with that is, okay, for example, 400 feet AGL. Okay. People have gotten around that for like forever. So people, I'm sure those that are experts in it will find a way to code around it and get around it and be able to do this and still be able to do stupid things. Okay. And it's those kind of people who make it bad for the rest of us. Okay. Marcus, how are you, sir?
Bill, not too bad. Not too bad. Remote ID deadlines I see on my screen here. Now there's
we're talking about that and that court case and everything. What are your thoughts on all this?
Well, I mean, it's, not a lot has changed really. So we just got to go with the flow. Like everybody else, my biggest concerns is that somebody can see where I'm at when I'm at my ground station with my ground station. And I don't want to be out particularly someplace remote, and somebody, like the Snake River Canyon or something, and somebody doesn't like drones and comes charging up, might not be good. Or even at a park, some Karen, why'd you fly over my house or whatever? Yeah. So that's really frustrating. And I'll even take it a step further, Bill. I've said this quite a bit. Is if I'm in Class G, let's see. Let me back up a little bit. I'm okay with the authorities knowing where I'm at and so forth. I'm absolutely fine with that when I am in controlled airspace. When I'm in Class G airspace, I don't know why anybody needs to know what I'm doing. Don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Class G is there's a reason that they labeled that airspace that way. Okay.
Yeah,
and you're right. I mean, it's
the authorities are not. Yeah, if
yeah.
there's no TFR and no,
Yeah.
Why do they need to know?
Maddie put down a good comment. Remote ID isn't going to stop these idiots. Okay.
Exactly.
Stupid people are still going to do stupid things. All right. And they're going to make it more difficult for the rest of us who follow the rules. And, this is why we have remote ID. It's because of these stupid people.
Well, I think part of it too is I really think that the powers that be are concerned about the average Joe being able to have an eye in the sky, and I think they're kind of making the rules so onerous that less people will actually want to take up the highway. Speaking of Lauren, I like Canada's rules. A sub 250 gram drone, they don't give a shit what you do with it, and I don't know why that isn't like that over here. The risk of a sub 250 gram drone, they've established that it's minimal. So,
yeah. So, stay tuned. And I think Lauren brought up, another good point about a better definition of airspace. And I think he's right. I think, that would be a very good thing because there's been so much, local law enforcement will tell you one thing. The FAA will tell you another thing. Drone classes will tell you another thing. And, it's like, what do you know? What do you believe? What's the real deal?
Yeah. And preventing local governments from trying to manage the airspace and manage drones. The county right next door to me, Canyon County, their county parks, they have a rule that says not only can you not take off in their parks, but they said you can't fly over them under 500 feet. Well, obviously with a drone, you can only fly 400 feet high. So de facto, they're saying that you can't fly over their parks. Well, obviously they don't have that control. The FAA gets navigable airspace, right? The FAA controls that. However, Bill, are you going to be the one that when you get a ticket, want to be able to defend yourself in court if you have to, if that happens? So, and that's what makes those kind of rules tough. Yeah, maybe they are ultimately unenforceable, but you've got to be able to afford a lawyer and go through all that hassle. And, who wants to do that?
Yeah. I'll give you an example here. Over in Orlando, flying over there, you would have an easier time, getting into the White House than flying in Orlando. Okay. It's like, if you want to fly, it costs you, I think I've heard like $20 if you want to fly in a public park, and that's just a one-time fee. Okay. It's ridiculous, because I've talked to several people that live over there, and just, there's nothing like that here in Tampa. And for example, in the state of Florida, you can fly over a state park, but you can't take off in a state park.
Bill, let me stop you for just a second now, and I may misunderstand Florida regulations, but I thought that Florida had one of those regulations that said localities could not make their own drone regulations.
That's what I thought too, but apparently Orlando's is held up, and I don't know why, because that's the only place around the state that I'm aware of that they do that, and they get away with their, and it's just price gouging. I mean, it's just pure and simple, and nobody flies around Orlando. Now,
well, that's their point. They're trying to discourage. That's the whole point of the thing, right?
Yeah.
They don't want people flying.
Well, it's always been like around Disney. Okay. It's a permanent TFR. You can't fly up there. All right. Which is all, that's something that's understandable, and it's been enforced. And fortunately, there's been no stupid people up around there to do that,
Bill, I agree with you about Disney, and I understand why they don't want a bunch of drones flying around there. I totally get it. However, last time I was at Disney World, there were so many helicopters and low-flying airplanes and everything flying over that thing. It made me think, well, what the hell's the difference? If a helicopter can fly 300 feet above Epcot, a tourist helicopter, why can't I fly my drone?
Yeah. It's the same difference. It really, because we have helicopters buzz us all the time over where we're at. So it's like, what's the deal here? And just, it's the ridiculousness of it, and they're very, I'll say we're probably more of a drone friendly state than not, because for example, for like state parks, you can fly over them. You just can't take off or land in them. All right. So a lot of people will park outside a state park, then fly over it. For example, one of the times, my second time I shot the Skyway Bridge. Okay. There's a Fort DeSoto park over there. It was a little bit too far away, but I got up to its doorstep. I could have flown over it if I wanted it to, and, but I got some good aerial shots, even though I was probably still a good 1,500, 2,000 feet away. I didn't have enough power to go there and come back to where I was taken off from. But you can do that in the state of Florida. There's no problem with that. But,
don't fly over any kind of a power substation or something in Florida or anything like that. They have that critical infrastructure bill that they are dead serious about, and can literally get you thrown in jail just for flying your drone.
There's a place down here by us. We have a coal burning power station run by Tampa Electric. Okay. Now, part of it, they discharge hot water into and it's filtered hot water. The manatees are there. Okay. And it's a manatee viewing station. I took my granddaughter down there when they came in December. They're open on certain months of the year, but that's a permanent TFR over there too. Okay. For the manatee sake, and also because, there's a couple of tall towers over there where they're burning coal, and they won't have any problems with that.
What's a drone going to hurt a manatee in the water?
I know. I'm
not sure.
I crossed. I
now I get the critical infrastructure thing. to a degree, but yeah. Listen, let me get off on that for a second. So, Bill, you know that I fly out at Lucky Peak Reservoir here locally quite a bit.
Right.
And I'm always very careful not to get anywhere near the dam or the power station. And to be fair, the Army Corps of Engineers, they gave me a map and they said, no, don't fly over here. And I am absolutely going to abide by that. But the other day I was out there, and here comes a helicopter, and it wasn't a military helicopter. It was a private helicopter. And he's hovering around right over the dam, right over the power station, messing around. And you could tell it was just a private individual just looking around. Well, isn't that helicopter going to do a lot more damage than my little drone?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, money talks, okay? Because I'm sure, the Airline Pilots Association, and I know I think there's a Helicopter Pilots Association, they're about as big as the NRA. I mean, they're big bucks and they're lobbyists, and, they get away with a lot of stuff that you couldn't even begin to imagine. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I can say on that. So, one of the other things that I kind of wanted to talk about tonight is we're hearing a lot of rumblings that the Avata is coming sooner rather than later. Have you heard anything, Marcus?
I've heard both ways. In fact, I just read something that now they're saying it's not going to be here till February, but then you hear we saw that FCC approval, and so that makes you think that it's coming soon. But boy, how do we know? And of course, we're starting to see leaks, pictures of the goggles and so forth. So I don't know. If I was a betting man, I'd probably say sooner rather than later.
That's what I think too. I know somebody said within the next couple of weeks. I'm not so sure about that. Because I just talked about, there were more pictures came out of the Inspire 3, and they're talking September, October for that. So, who knows? I mean, it's been kind of difficult to pin DJI down this year.
I know who knows, but he's claiming Schultz.
I know nothing. Yeah. Well, sooner. I think it's going to be sooner rather than later, and I think it will be this year versus next year, but we'll see on that. And again, same with the Inspire 3. I think it's going to be sooner rather than later, and just hold on to your hats, boys and girls.
Damn it, Bill! I'll tell you, I wish I could fly those things. I'm gonna sell my FPV drone because those goggles just don't work for me, and it's frustrating. Because I'd love to do it, but the way my eyes work, and I can only see half of the goggles, and it's just doesn't work.
Yeah, for me, it's spatial orientation. It just won't. That doesn't fly for me. It won't work. I have to see when I'm flying. It's just one of those instances. Something very interesting is, it's kind of I started to show off. It's kind of like this. We're in this in between period between releases right now. Okay. And things have seemed to have hit, let's say the issues have kind of hit a plateau, because I know with the Mavic 3, there's been really, no issues to speak of with that. The Mini 3 Pro, those issues have gone way, way, way down. I haven't really heard a lot of chatter on that recently. So it's kind of like I'll call it a good period right now, because, we're not getting a lot of bad news on that,
That's very true. Yeah. That Mini 3 Pro is just, man, that's a phenomenal drone. There's no doubt about it. Hey, Bill, we need to shout out Sean at Geek Spana. I'm just doing the math in my head, and it's about 1:30 in the morning where he's at. So,
well, Sean, thank you for for stopping by. We also know, Mr. Stephen Ewing up in Ireland. It's probably about the same time for him, and we greatly appreciate you guys tuning in to us. We don't thank you guys lightly for that. One of the other things that I have just been, and I've been flying it a lot more lately, has been the Mavic 3. And I gotta say this, I am just unbelievably. The more I fly that, the more impressed I am with it, and it's not only for videography and photography, but it's flight handling and characteristics, and just it's just a real doggone pleasure to fly.
It's the best drone I own, Bill. Period.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's like I took off, and this was, and you'll see it in my next video. Okay, how I do my workflow is, I have my one camera on a tripod, and you get a picture of the takeoff. It's not even moving an inch.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's like it's hanging from a string. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's not even moving an inch, and then and it does, precision. It lands on the pad every single time. There's no question, none. I mean, it just does it, and it just,
yeah. They appear to have cured the GPS issue that everybody was complaining about.
yeah.
So I mean, I never really had much of a problem there. And the other thing that sorry about that, my brother trying to call me. That with that issue, that was the big one that everybody kind of hung their hat on. Man, other than that, there's as Lauren knows, the only other thing that has bothered us is that Airsense doesn't seem to be working like it should on the drone. That's the most critical thing I can think of with the Mavic 3.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one of the things for me that has really impressed me has been the battery life in it. Okay, they have done, for a drone that size, they have done an incredible job with that, Marcus.
Hey, Bill, so you just touched on something, that and the Mini 3 Pro too, the battery life on it. And let me tell you where it really stood out to me. So I just today published a video on kind of a return to home guide, or I'm trying to auto return is what Autel calls it on their drones, and on the Nano Plus. And what I absolutely underestimated when I was making that video was the battery life. It just doesn't fly half as long as what the Mini 3 does. And so DJI, it's amazing the secret sauce that they pour into their stuff. And so drones like that Mini 3 Pro and the Mavic 3, just tremendous flight time. What happens is you become spoiled, and you kind of forget about having to worry about battery life.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a real treat. And I also, one of the things that I went out during, and I won't give away all of my video here, but flying it with the DJI RC and the DJI RC Pro, I'm not really, the only detectable, I'm not even seeing a lag. One of the things I really look for was I was expecting some kind of latency, some kind of lag between the feed. There isn't. Okay, and that's really impressing me, because I think the issues that we're having, the signal strength issues that we're having, that a lot of people have reported with the Mini 3 and the DJI RC, it's with the Mini 3. Okay, it's the internal hardware in the Mini 3. It's not in the DJI RC, because I've taken that thing up, and I've taken it out. I've been out over 2,000 feet with that, and there's been no issues whatsoever with the Mavic 3. None.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah, I mean, it's just battery life is Lauren.
Yeah, I saw that as well. That's the truth. I mean, really. I mean, how long do you want to be in the air? Sometimes because you're so focused, it can kind of wear you out if you're up there too long.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Well, I mean, of course, I'm an old guy, so.
Yeah, I need my afternoon naps.
Yeah, me and Michael Wright, we're
I'm starting to get there myself.
Yeah.
Needing those afternoon naps. Well, that's about it for tonight. I know Ron said he was on a shoot tonight, so he probably wasn't going to be able to join us. But do you have any closing thoughts, Marcus?
Yeah, this be careful in the hot weather. I mean, I think we always, in the temperatures that we've been having, we need to remind people to be wary of not just what it does to your batteries, although that's a big deal, but also the recommendations. Most of these drone companies, and I know DJI, the high end is 104 degrees Fahrenheit. That would put it about 36, I think, or so centigrade, something like that. So you want to be aware of that and be mindful of that with your drone. So fly early in the morning or late in the evening, when it's probably not so hot, which is probably a better time to fly anyway. The golden hours, our friend Ron Brown does.
Well,
but yeah, I mean, lots of stuff going on. I mean, good time to be a drone flyer before we have to worry about remote ID. A year from now might be different. So get out there and fly while you can.
That's for sure. And you brought up a really good point about the weather. And one of the things that I've done, like between, flights, is I go into my car and I turn the car on, let the air's cool in there. I cooled it. And that's another thing. Okay. Your drones need to be ready, but you also need to be ready to go out there. Okay. And number one, make sure you stay hydrated. And number two, wear some kind of covering, like especially down in Florida. Either, wear a hat and put sunscreen on, or do both. All right. And one of the rule of thumbs is, don't go out after 11 or 10 in the morning. And unfortunately, I've done that the last 2 times, or, go out early in the morning or go out later in the afternoon after 5, because, down here, not only, we're not having the ultra high temperatures that you guys have had, but one of the things that really hits Florida is the way we're positioned, and we get very high ultraviolet rays down here. Okay. And that's why, that's why they're really big on making sure you have coverings on, especially those times of day. Like we went up to the pool the other day. I made sure I had shirt on and everything, and we go up later until after the sun is just starting to come down. So that makes a lot of sense. But no, right. Marcus brings up a good point about the drones, and need to take care of yourself as well too. Hope you guys have a great rest of your evening and a great week. And remember, guys, as always, it's a great day to fly. Take care.